this off season, so maybe early November. That's when the calls kind of start coming in early November with people like, hey, if we make a change, would you be interested with some different schools? And most of them, were no. I'm like, I'll do some research and on different situations. So, I remember one of the jobs came up, but like, okay, maybe I'll be interested in it. Let me try to talk myself into the things of why this could be a good job. And if the second you have to start talking yourself into it, you definitely don't need that job, right? I mean, it's just that's not what it is. So I kind of tried to come up with some criteria of what it needed to be for me to get back in coaching. So, if you start with it, number one, I didn't want to have to come in and build from scratch. Had to come in. I don't want to come in I'll just constantly raise money. We have no facilities. Everything about what we don't have. I've done that at places. I've built an unbelievable facility at Mississippi State, raised a ton of money at Florida, designed a whole facility there. Never got to get into it. I think it finished 3 months after I left. But, when I came out here, I'd come out here 2 years ago, went in to go see Barry in the office, went in, I'm like, I can't believe how great the facilities are here. Facilities are in place. Then you add that you go play at Allegiant Stadium. And so that kind of, I'm like, all right, that checks the box. Everything's in place. Next, I wanted the opportunity to win. I wanted to be able to win championships. Well, look at last year. We're probably a half away from going to the college football playoff, right? And so we've shown that we can win here, and I expect to win. I want to win. I want to win conference championships. Want the opportunity to get to the college football playoffs, make things happen. So we had the facilities. We had the ability to win. The ability to win and recruit. Obviously in the city of Las Vegas, so attractive, especially in the transfer portal world era where there's older kids looking at schools that love, are really interested in coming here. And then the final one was location. Mm-hmm. As you see, I'm here. My son Cannon's here tonight. My daughter Bree are here. My wife Megan's over there. They're all socializing with everybody, hanging and having a good time.
That's what it's all about,
right? But I want a place where I want one of my kids to go to high school, graduate high school. My son's a sophomore, daughter's 8th grader. So it had to be a place I really wanted to live. And so when this job came open, and I remember, we're laughing a couple of years. Like I've come out and played golf tournaments here. People are like, how do we get you to Vegas? Like, what would it take for you to be the UNLV head coach? And I'd always laugh. I said, that'll never happen. That will never happen. When this opportunity came up at this time, I started looking and checking all the boxes, and I was trying to find a reason to take the job. I was the opposite. I was trying to find a reason not to. And that's the type of situation you want to get yourself into. And, it came out, it worked. It was the great timing. And I've been thrilled every day since I took this job. I've loved every single day of going to work and being here in the city of Las Vegas.
And that's an amazing way to look at it, especially in your situation. The situation you left the last time you were coaching, you touched on it a little bit in your answer there, that the coaching world, the college football world has changed, and things like the transfer portal and even roster limitations that are new scholarship opportunities that you're eligible to give out to players. How has that transition been? It's a new world basically for you on the sidelines now.
It is, and it was great to see it from kind of a 30,000-foot view over the last couple of years, talking to a lot of different coaches. I'll be honest. If I had stayed in coaching all the way through, I don't know if I'd be coaching today. With all the changes that have happened, and talking to the coaches about the difficulties of adjusting to the transfer portal, the difficulties of adjusting to NIL, the difficulties of how you're running your program and how you have to change your program around all those things. I think it was hard. You see a lot of guys. Nick Saban just like, hey, I don't know if I love this new way of doing things. Getting to see it from the outside in, coming in and making adjustments before I got here. Okay. The one, like as an old school coach, right? Hey, you got to bleed for your school. You love it. And you come here, you're UNLV through and through, you're here for 5 years,
right?
And that's your team. It's not that world anymore. And as long as you accept that coming into it, like I was talking to coach, like, oh, because it all seems fun. Well, wait till this guy that you recruited did all these things for, you recruited them for 2 years, you've developed them for 2 years, comes in your office and he's like, I'm leaving for a better opportunity. Okay. It was, we had some guys after spring come in after spring practice. We didn't lose much, but I mean, well, if a guy walked in and is like, "Hey, coach, I think I'm going to go to the portal. I'm going to look at my opportunities to go to another situation." I'm like, "Hey," I usually ask why are you doing that?
Right.
Because I hope kids. I still, as a coach, you want to help kids make good decisions.
Right.
If you have a good reason, hey, some school called by, I know they're not supposed to tamper and call, but
Right.
I mean, this one kid, I'm 100%. This school called, tampered, said we're going to offer you all this money. Hey, if it's great money for you and your family, go ahead. I understand that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I think before the guy was out of the office, Lee Davis, who's actually here tonight, our chief of staff and GM, I'm like, hey, Lee, we need another guy at that position before he even left my office. And she's on the phone. We got someone in the next day. It's that new world. So
right.
The old school coaching mindset of like all of that, you have to be ready to adjust to it. The game's still development. That's why I always ask guys why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? Where are you at in your career? Don't race through your career. Most guys don't play until their third year. They don't even get it. First year, you redshirt. Second year, you're figuring it out, maybe getting on a special team or two. Third year, you start getting into rotation and start playing. Well, now, I mean, those guys, they're probably on their third school at that point. And at some point, I sit the guys down and say, at some point, if you're coming in, this is your third school in 3 years. If you don't worry about just development, next year you'll be at your fourth school in 4 years.
Right.
Because we're not going to play you if you're not going to develop.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to learn, develop, and get ready to play. And so, I think when you learn that new way and being out of it and adjusting to how I want to do it instead of having to do that from one day to the next and this change and that change, I came in expecting it, and I think it's made it a lot easier.
We're rolling along here on the Dan Mullen Coaches Show. First show of the year as UNLV gets set to take on Idaho State this upcoming Saturday at Allegiant Stadium, 1 o'clock Pacific kickoff. Plenty to come here on the Coaches Show. Don't forget, we've got our raffle prizes for our in-house audience. If you have not gotten a raffle ticket yet, our lovely Learfield representatives out on the patio will get you squared away. We're also doing a segment in the fourth segment of the show called Ask Coach a Question. You get your raffle tickets. They'll give you a slip of paper. We're going to pre-screen a question, so nothing too crazy here. And don't forget, $2 Miller Lights throughout the show tonight for our live audience here at PKWY Tavern, 215.
We wait to the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
$2 Miller Lights for that question. Who knows what type of questions we're going to get with
That's why we're doing it early. We're going
to
to cut the questions off at about 7:20 or so. Give us a chance to screen them. And, Coach, before we take our first break, I got kind of a two-parter for you talking about your time at ESPN.
Yeah.
What was the number one thing that you enjoyed the most about kind of taking that step back and being able to watch games from a different perspective? And then on the flip side of that, what was the number one thing you missed most about coaching in your time working on the sidelines and in the booth?
Well, I think they kind of go together in a lot. The people at ESPN, obviously, they being teamed up, Matt Berry and Joey Galloway on Saturdays, Matt Berry and Harry Lyles, and I would do the Thursday night game. Just that crew. The thing that made it TV one of the easiest adjustments were, one, they're like, hey, come in and talk football.
Easy enough.
Right? So I can do that. You can see that. But right? And then you're around great people. You have a great team. So that made it a lot of fun. It's very different than radio. As you see, I like to ramble on. So there's no one in my ear right now. Rap. Pass it to Joey. That's 30 seconds. Pass it to Joey. But you really enjoyed that, the people being involved in the game, going to games, talking to the coaches, calling games. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed both studio and calling the games. The thing you miss is that, like, you're at the game and you feel the juice and the adrenaline of the stadium, the field, the fans, all of that. And after the game, you don't win, you don't lose. You just kind of go home.
Objective viewer.
There's a little bit of that emotion that that kind of that rush that disappears that you miss. And that locker room, that celebration, that feel. We had a great team, but it's not like winning a game and celebrating.
Yeah, I mean,
we'd call the game. Hey, how'd we do? Pretty good. Let's head back to the hotel, get a cocktail. We'd have a cocktail, get on the first plane back to Bristol, Connecticut the next morning.
Easy enough. Lower stakes on our side of things, right? All right. Well, we're still got plenty to come here on the Dan Mullen Coaches Show. You're going to get back on the sidelines, back in the locker room come this weekend against Idaho State, hopefully celebrating a big-time victory. We're going to get to plenty of upcoming topics. We're going to talk about offense. We're talking defense. Of course, ask Coach a question. And we are going to preview the Idaho State Bengals coming in from Pocatello out of the Big Sky. This is the Dan Mullen Coaches Show. Back in a moment from PKWY Tavern, 215, and Flamingo here on the UNLV Sports Network from Learfield.